Warning.
You are now tuned in to 7 Mile Radio.
Nasty Production.
7 Mile Radio.
What up, though? What up, though? What up, though? Happy Monday. Happy magnificent Monday. It's another episode of Excuse My Truth podcast. And we're here for another live stream. Mark D, what's up, my boy?
What's going on, my dog?
I ain't complaining, man. How your day going so far?
Man, everything's sweet. You already know me. Staying grinding, staying productive, and same old shit, different toilet. You know
I like it. That's your catchphrase hashtag right there.
Yes,
Same
sir.
shit,
Yes,
different
sir.
toilet.
Yes, sir.
All right, y'all. So as y'all can see, we on a new day, new time slot, and it's a lot of newness going on. I got a whole new co-host, and I'm really excited to be bringing on. She came on as a guest, and then when we announced that we were looking for a third co-host, a couple people threw her name out there, and I absolutely thought it was a pretty cool vibe. But without further ado, the newest co-host on Excuse My Truth podcast, Black Cherry. What's up, Black Cherry?
What's up, y'all? Hey.
Tell the people a little bit about yourself, Black Cherry.
Well, this isn't my first rodeo with podcasts. I've had some experience with it before. You guys see me on here a couple times with my show. I guess some of y'all like how I talk shit, so I'm here.
Well, we absolutely appreciate it. The people definitely was embracing how you was talking shit. And then on tonight's episode of Excuse My Truth podcast, we're going to be delving into no parent should have to bury a child. And then, like, disclaimer, let alone two. You know what I mean? Like, that's the comma. No parent should have to bury a child, let alone two. So on tonight's episode of Excuse My Truth podcast, we have our special guest, Miss T, a.k.a. Quan's Madre. What up, T?
What up, though?
Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
How's your day going so far?
I woke up this morning, so I can't complain.
Listen, so I be when my brokers, I'm in the mortgage industry, so whenever my brokers I'm like, hey, how's your day going? I'm like, no such thing as a bad day, right? Like that, and disclaimer, that does not mean that the days does not present themselves to be challenging, but from a mindset standpoint, like I don't rest with, accepting a bad day, because again, shit could be worse. And I promise you that regardless of how fucked up your situation is or what you're dealing with, there is somebody who would trade places with you. Don't let your cup good? Oh, that
Empty.
motherfucker empty. Okay.
I was going to lean in Tower of Pisa. I was a little worried.
I mean, you and me both. I'm thinking like, where we about to go with that motherfucking cup? So, all right, y'all. So I was about to say it's a disadvantage, you know what I'm saying? Because I got 2 against 1, but I got balance over here because my guy Mark D, you know what I'm saying, gonna balance it out for me. But Taj, what's up, my baby? We appreciate you, Taj, as always. You know what I'm saying? Another episode of Excuse My Truth podcast. Got a new co-host, Black Cherry, back by popular demand and official. So with that being said, on tonight's episode, we're talking about no parent should have to bury a child. And then, I like to put the emphasis on it, let alone two. And my guest tonight has experience burying a child and experience burying two. Now, just as a disclaimer, and I'm going to let her share her truth, but as we kind of embark on this, you know what I mean? Like, again, just hashtag disclaimer. We always want to be empathetic and very mindful of, the content and the things that we say, because we're dealing with a very touchy situation. But with that being said, Ms. T, so you have experience, unfortunately, not only burying a child, but burying two. Can you share your truth with us?
In 2019, my nepson, he's technically my nephew, but my son, he's my brother. He was my brother's son. He was killed for his Cartier sunglasses in 2019 on 7 Mile Auto Drive at the gas station. He was with my son, Jaquan, at the time of the robberies turned murder. And then my son, Jaquan, was shot down and killed on his 21st birthday of July 6, 2021. So I lost both of them 2 years apart. And they are a month apart, actually.
So they are a month apart in age, and they died a year apart.
2
2
years
years.
apart.
2 years apart, and both due to gun violence.
Yes.
Okay. Wow.
That's deep.
Yeah, I do remember that right there on 7 Mile and I Drive, not far here from the studio when that happened, man.
Right.
That was real sad, and you know, it was a real big story over here on this side of town, man, because it's just far too often that, you know, young people already involved in gun violence, but like just to you know, get robbed for something that you probably worked for. It's your stuff, you know what I mean? It was just a sad situation. I remember hearing about that, and I remember reporting on it.
Can you share a little bit about the story that with Quan?
You want to work with Quan first or Teo?
I mean, with Teo first, because
Okay.
Teo was 2019, right?
Yep, 2019. He was 18 years old.
Just graduated high school.
Just graduated.
Getting ready to go off to college.
Getting ready to go off to college.
He
had
just
a
pulled up on me
scholarship.
like I think the day before or something.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, yeah, it was a lot. Like, yeah, he was a good kid.
A real
like, he
good
was, you know what I
kid.
mean? And that was like come
He
on.
definitely
man.
wasn't in them streets. Football, student athlete. You know what I mean?
That's
On
why,
his way to.
Basketball.
that's why I remember
Yep.
it was real sad, right?
Yep.
A lot of people was talking about that, man, because that little boy wasn't even in the streets like that. I
Yep.
remember
At
now,
all.
like,
That's the most unfortunate part, you know, when kids is on the right path and trying to do the right thing and they just at the wrong place at the wrong
Escape
time.
that narrative that, you know what I mean, like, you know, being young, black, and in the hood. You know what I mean? Like these kids were definitely, you know, on their way out of the hood for certain.
Yeah.
It's like in life, you teach your kids if you want something, you work for it, and that's why I instilled
Right.
my children. It was like Teo was adamant about having graduated and going to prom with Cartier glasses. He worked at the chicken place on 9 Mile and Kelly. I don't know, was it Chicken Shack or something like that? Then he picked up a second job at UPS because Teo technically graduated high school early. I remember getting a call from the counselor. She was like, "Oh, Lateo's done. I'll see him back graduation." He was done in January. So he picked up the extra job just so he can have
Get the
those cardies to go to prom. He's like, I'm going across the stage, I'm going to prom, I'm gonna get those cardies. So it's like the very thing that we instilled in him is the very thing, you know, he lost his life for, something he wanted and he worked hard for.
Yeah, he worked
as
for.
an
and
18-year-old
that's
young
why I
man.
said that. That's exactly why I said that. You know what I mean? It's something that he worked for. You know what I'm saying? And it's man, that's his shit, man. Like, why you wanna?
That'd be the fucked up part about when you.
That's why I can't stand a thief, man.
100%.
Man.
Like, a thief
100%.
is like the worst to me, man.
100%.
The thing
bro.
is, you know, and then another thing is just like with them being so young, their jealousy from their peers is so terrible.
Yeah.
You know, like that, all of that shit to me, it steer from like jealousy. Like you're jealous because this person has worked for something and earned something, but somehow you can't have that. And sometimes we can't have what we want right when we want it. But it's like, so now you just gonna take it
That's
from
the-
somebody and just like, take the damn glasses. Why you gotta take their life too?
Right.
You know?
Right.
Like,
Right.
My brother told me a long time ago, and it's very sad, like the way the streets move. But my brother basically told me a long time ago that if a nigga rob you, he's already like
you already don't care.
prepared to, you know what I'm saying, to
Yeah.
kill you.
Kill
You know
you.
what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's the unfortunate part because, you know, there's instances and stories where, you know, a person can cooperate, give them everything they fucking ask for, and the motherfucker still shoot them
And
and take
still
their
shoot 'em.
fucking life. You know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
and even because I know a little bit about the story with Teo, like the dudes, it's like, first of all, it's for you niggas. You know what I'm saying? Like we about to be, you know, either you gonna sell them and try to get the money and split it, but like for y'all about to like split, you know, a couple dollars and throw your whole fucking life
Life
away
Y'all
for
all
what?
about to have what,
Peanuts.
$200 a piece? Like,
You know what I
that's-
mean? Like for what? You know what I'm saying? And you know, for Teo to lose his life like that behind glasses, like even me though, I got a couple pair of sticks, but
You
I'd be
could've put
so
that same energy, that same thought, that same tenacity, that same drive, right, into doing something that all four of y'all could have got y'all own pair of cardies.
facts.
Exactly.
Facts. And we
They
all
could've-
could have been rocking sticks.
They could have hustled bottles of water on the corner to get them sticks in 2 days because you know what I mean. Like
See,
it's
that
just like
that is a small projection on how
Bum
what's
shit.
the problem with our people on a bigger scale, right? We see it's like I've always said, no matter if it's a Fortune 500 company or organized crime, there's a hierarchy that's in place for this thing to be successful, right? But our people don't respect the work that takes to make these things happen. They just see the guy at the top and they just want the attributes and want everything that he got, no matter what it takes to get it. You know, fuck all of the work that it took for him to get where he got or got the things that he want. I just want I just want it because it's easier for me to just take it from you than it is for me to work and do. You know what I'm saying? That's some bum shit, man. Like I can't stand
super bum
I
shit.
can't
Super
stand,
bum.
I can't stand a thief, man.
So so the incident with Teo, your son Quan was there as well.
Yes.
Where was he at when this incident happened, and how did it affect him?
He was. They both were in the gas station, and Jaquan left out of the gas station. Teo was still in there paying for the juice, and Jaquan was sitting in the car, and he heard the gunshot. But another guy had went in, and Jaquan jumped up when he heard the gunshot, and Teo was meeting him out, coming out the door, saying that he was shot. That situation affected Jaquan bad. As a parent, the worst thing is knowing that your child is hurting and there is nothing you could do to take that pain away. I watched my child become somebody different. You know, him and Teo grew up from 2000 until, 2019. They graduated high school together, went to prom together, they did everything together. And he got to a point where he wasn't sleeping. Like, it affected him so bad. And I was trying to, talk to him, get him help. But if you've never been through that, it's different. Everything affects people differently. And they were 18 at the time. And Jaquan took a year off. He just couldn't handle Teo's death. Then he went on to college. He had a full ride to Minnesota. He actually played football, Minnesota. Real good. He was a good student athlete. He went to Madison High School, ran track, the first freshman in Madison High's history to ever go all-state in track. Never ran track until 9th grade. He went all-state in football, basketball. He did, you named it, he did it. And then COVID hit us, forced him back home, and he did not want to be here. He just kept saying, I do not like here. He like, I just don't like Michigan. So he was transferring to California. And to believe it or not, the day that my son was killed, he actually was leaving to college that morning, but he was killed that night on his 21st birthday. And what the police want to say, sporadic road rage.
Sporadic. Road rage is not sporadic.
Exactly.
Wait, so what? So, okay, so let's transition. So we know Teo was murdered over his glasses. Now, talk to us about what happened with Quan.
I'm going to touch on little basis because it's still an open homicide investigation, but from cameras, because a lot of things was caught on like green light because he was killed on East 8 Mile. Like, the shooting started happening like right after they crossed Gratiot. Like, you know how
on the White Castle side of like this side of 8 Mile Gratiot, or like the
opposite Detroit side.
Okay.
And it started on Detroit side, but the camera caught is like starting down from like Grossbeck.
Okay.
And you know how guys riding their speed and got in front of you, got in front of me, like that type of thing. And once they hit Gratiot, Jaquan kept going, and they start firing shots. And the car spin was up on the island. Now Jaquan has his own car. And this particular night, he was in my car. Yeah. And they was like, well, investigation, it was just like sporadic road rage. We watched the video and the camera. It was like, oh, he cut him off. And I'm like...
So they didn't know who the car was? They couldn't grab no license plate? I mean...
it's still up in investigation.
Okay, got you. That's...
Getting real close.
Okay, good. I'm real glad to hear that. That shit...
It was real touching.
My God,
Then
that shit is just terrible.
I lost him on his 21st birthday. He was born July the 6th. I ended up having his funeral service July the 21st. He was 21. Then I found out he had a baby, and his son was born 21 days later.
Well, first of all, definitely condolences, thoughts, prayers. There's probably never a day and time where you are going to move on from this, and rightfully so. Which goes back to the caption, like, no parent should ever have to bury a child, let alone two. And I think in talking about this or bringing this to the platform, it was definitely one of those situations where, because I know about both of them, how encouraging it is to still see you smile. You know what I mean?
Everybody say that.
Because in what we're not, I mean, we're talking about burying a child and let alone two, but in between those murders, like your brother, which is Teo's father, was died in a house fire.
Yeah.
So you buried your son or your nephew son, your brother, and then your son, like back to back to back.
Yes.
And for the average person, that would have taken them out, you know what I mean? And to still see you smile, very inspiring. So I definitely wanted, you to get an opportunity to share your story. Now, as far as the case with Teo, you said the one with Quan is still an open investigation, but as far as the case with Teo, talk to us a little bit about like the process in terms of, obviously, very unfortunate, very tragic what happened. Was there any closure for you and the family pertaining the law enforcement process?
Well, in my opinion, you never get closure, but the guy that did kill Teo, he was arrested 2 days later, actually.
Wonderful.
Teo was killed May 26th.
Shout out to DPD.
Yeah,
Yes.
I was like,
Shout out to
look,
DP.
shout out, listen.
For coming through with the new employees or something.
When they
Shout out
aired
to
the story on the
DPD.
news, detective called me. He said, as soon as we aired Teo's story, our phones would not stop ringing. They was calling Crime Stoppers like back to back. It's about a well-loved, well-mannered, quiet, humble kid, and it like was hurting like for somebody killed Teo, a person you don't even hear talk really. And within 48 hours, he was arrested. He sure was.
Well, praise the Lord, saints.
He was in cuffs May 28, 2019. Now, I'll never forget it.
They sentenced him.
Was
Yes,
it?
Did they bury him under there?
Yeah, he'll
Was
probably
it-
die in there.
There was several individuals and not involved in, because there was only one guy that
Actually,
pulled the
right.
trigger, right?
Right.
But there were others that were like in the company of the guy. Was he the only one that was charged in with everything?
Yes, because the others, like, kind of, I'm going to take the stand against you, and that's how that
Okay,
went.
so they basically cooperated. You know what I
Right.
mean? Okay. Very. Ugh. And the craziest part about, like, even with, I mean, the chair, you talked about it earlier, where like people rather just like take versus work hard and get the shit themselves. So even me, I'm so like, my mom always be like I be worried about you with them glasses. I'm like, listen, ma, I try to be, and again, I'm not saying that I'm untouchable,
Invincible
you know what I
and
mean?
shit.
Yeah, anything in that regards or whatever, but I just try to use a little wisdom, you know what I mean? Like, again, whether I got my, you know what I'm saying, like my protection with me or not means nothing. Like, I still try to use wisdom. Like, if I'm pulling up at a gas station, like by myself, you know what I mean? Like, I don't have a problem taking these bitches off and you know what I'm saying, throwing them in the arms
Exactly.
when I
Right.
walk in a gas station. Like, I have no problem with not wearing my shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, 100%. When I go in certain neighborhoods and, broad daylight, like, same difference. You know what I mean? Like, I have no problem with taking my motherfucking glasses off and, you know what I'm saying? Like, being very intelligent. And then we were even OT, and somebody was like, you better take the bus off here. I'm like, well, I'm from Detroit. I'm definitely not about to like take my bus off.
Exactly.
But at the same token, walked around with fucking head on a swivel.
Discretion, right.
Discretion,
For
you know what I'm saying? It
sure,
wasn't
for
just
sure.
like blatantly, you know what I'm saying? Because again, motherfuckers will take like it's so unfucking fortunate, bro. It's so fucking unfortunate.
Well, the crazy part is he didn't even get the glasses. In the midst of him
What?
snatching them off Teo's face, he shot him. Like, I don't know if he got scared or whatever. Maybe he dropped the glasses running out of the gas station.
Oh,
So, and again, and I don't want to in any way, shape, or form sound insensitive, but like it's not. It's I can't even really say this without making it sound insensitive, because it's like you didn't even get the fucking glasses and you took his fucking life. You know what I'm saying? Like, you getting away with the glasses wouldn't have made it right. You know what I mean? But it makes it even more of a
that you.
of a disdain and creates so much hatred. How do you not and I don't want to assume that you didn't, but how did you process everything in terms of not allowing your emotions to turn into hate in general? Not just for the young man who did it, but just overall create such a, because it's easy to get bitter and resentful, you know what I mean, when a motherfucker come and take your fucking child away from you.
Right.
I was bitter, kind of still am, but it's just I don't forgive, but I never forget. And I just like karma. Every dog got
You
their
don't-
day.
Every
Words
last
matter.
one.
You said you don't forgive or you do forgive and just
I
don't
don't.
forget. Okay.
I don't.
Okay.
Because you took something from me I can never ever get back. Like glasses. We could easily get some glasses.
Right.
We could easily have words through a car or you cut in front of me. All that. Like, but once you take someone's life, it affects people
Permanently.
bad. Yes. You know what I'm saying? As this is a parent's worst nightmare. I always banked on me going first,
Right.
not me burying none of them.
Right.
And now I'm raising my son's son. I'm like a daddy G mine, so I call myself. That he never got to meet, and it just I don't know, it's crazy. But the thing I know is like what T.I. said, you don't know how strong you are. So that's the only choice that you have left. And I get it now. Like when I have other kids, and you know, so it's like if I fold, the whole foundation gonna fold.
Right.
Cause they're younger than Jaquan was my oldest son, and I still have to look under them, so I still have to be strong. I still cry every day. It's not a day go by that I don't cry for my kids. It's just, I don't let my kids see me cry. You know, even when I'm at work, I had to take a breather and go in the bathroom. I cry, think about it. And my brother died in a house fire, and it's something that stuck with me. Cause he was older than me, he always aggravated me as kids, like put his finger in my face, and I cry. He'd be like, "But I'm not touching you," and I start crying. He'd be like, "Stop crying, cause crying solves nothing." So every time I find myself, I hear Poppy's voice like, "Crying solves nothing," and I was like, I gotta keep strong, keep going again, cause if I fall, my whole foundation is over. It crumbles. So I have to be the strong person. I have to keep us all going.
No parent should ever have to bury a child, let alone two. And tonight's guest had to unfortunately deal with burying two
In 2 years,
in 2 years. So 2019 and 2021.
lost my brother 2020. So it's 2019,
So
2020,
3 years
2021.
straight.
Yeah, and that's the first time I ever questioned God. I was like, how strong do you think I really am? Like, you really think I could
Man,
take all
that's
this?
how my 21 was, boy.
Like, you think I could take this? Like, when we got the call about my brother, I pulled up and it was just like, the house was engulfed and everybody made it out, and I'm just standing out there like, the worst thing, me and my mother, and just watching the house burn down, and she know her child in there, I know my brother in there, and there's nothing we can do about it but watch it burn to the ground. The worst thing.
You know, it's so here's the irony of me and T didn't even meet each other until we were adults. You know, funny thing is, like, our families grew up literally on the same street, but I never
Yes.
met T. So her brother Poppy literally got shot in my house, like sitting on the couch in front of the fan. My cousin, you know, Mark was throwing parties or whatever, and nigga shot Poppy in the stomach or whatever. But like, we grew up, you know what I'm saying? Filbert, 482, you know, 48205. And, it was literally like a very crazy, like our childhood was super wild growing up, definitely filled with violence. And I mean, we're in the hood, you know what I'm saying? We're in the hood, you know what I'm saying? Like for sure. But then transition to we get older, and then me and T, you know, become friends or whatever, and separate. And at the time, I still don't know that she's Poppy's sister. You know what I mean? And when I finally found out she was Poppy's sister, I'm like, that's fucking crazy that like we locked in and super engaged or whatever, and not knowing that I grew up with your brother, like literally, like know the whole fucking family. That's how I knew at that time they had to have like the same mama, because like Poppy mama like wasn't around. He stayed with his pops. You know what I'm saying? And everybody knew Big Poppy, you know what I'm saying? And we just never knew he had no motherfucking sister, you know what I'm saying? But like the way our families were intertwined or whatever, like in knowing Poppy, like even getting that call, it was just like first of all, my phone ain't ringing at 3 o'clock in the morning. It's you know what I mean? So I'm already answering the phone in defense mode, and then answering the phone and hearing you screaming and crying like that. I'm like, what the fuck? But that was definitely another and then even with Teo, I think like the day before or a few days before, like he just pulled up on me to grab a order, you know what I mean, some loyalty shit, and met me right at the gas station and shit, and for us to meet at the gas station, then a few days later he loses his life at the gas station. Like that shit was crazy. That shit was crazy. Like, and I've never like, so I have 3 children, you know what I mean? I got a 21-year-old, a 20-year-old, and a 17-year-old and my 21-year-old both knew Teo and Quan. They competed together against each other in Little League football and football alike. But I couldn't even wrap my mind around, you know what I mean, like burying my child. I mean, you got a son, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Mark, you got
Two sons.
two,
Yeah.
and to have to experience that is like surreal. But even more like in terms of like your healing and the aftermath for you, did you or are you seeking any type of, therapy or like kind of talk to us about that?
Homicide gave us therapy. I was doing it for a minute, then I kind of was like, this not for me because everything is not for everybody. And I started work. I think I use working as more of a coping mechanism. I try to keep myself occupied a lot. I find myself go to the cemetery just about every other day, and I talk to them. That's how I cope. Cause
Are they at the same cemetery?
Teo and Poppy are buried together.
Okay.
And Jaquan is over in the same cemetery, and he's in the mausoleum.
Okay.
And so that's how I just cope, and the kids keep me going. But yeah, it's hard. It really is.
And Quan, like him, and that's kind of like, well, no, a little different though because he was not even here when his son was born. So he lost his life, and then 21 days later, he had a son.
Yep. He lost his life at 21, funeral on the 21st. 21 days later, he had his first son.
Damn.
Wow.
And then, what's crazy? I reached out to a psychic. I'm going to tell y'all, I'm going to let y'all know something I did. I talked to a psychic. This before I ever knew about this baby. And I really thought she was crazy because she was just like, yeah, and I keep visioning a little boy, and he's going to look like your son. He's going to act like your son. Mind you, I don't even know this girl was even pregnant. And she was like, your son has reincarnated himself. And I'm like, how are you? And I know that him and this girl was together in high school. They actually went to college together, and she had a baby. But he never told me. But she would post the baby and put emojis over his face. And my mama kept saying, you need to reach out. But at the time, I just lost Quan. I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that. And one day I just reached out. She was like, yeah, that's what I want to talk to you about. And she's like, we about to move back to Michigan, and we'll meet up. I was like, well, don't take this the wrong way, but I want a DNA test. And she was like, sure. And then when I got the results, like, I left work. I was screaming in the middle of the hallway. They emailed them. And
How did that work? Did they have to, like, swab you and then swab the baby?
They swabbed me and the father then. Well, they said they had to need both of us for it to be, like, more accurate or, like, if she was to get, like, death benefits or something. So Jaquan did have DNA on record about him being over the age of 21 at the time. I had to get a court order release his DNA. I went through a whole bunch of stuff just to get his DNA released. So that's how we did that.
So that had to that's a lot.
That's just a whole lot. But you know what? And I know this is not ever going to make you feel any better, but like that grandbaby right there.
That was my blessing.
That's your angel. Like that's your blessing. That's your spiritual connection. And I believe in all of that.
Yeah.
And speaking to like psychs and mediums to like understand like the connection between this life and past life and all of that. I totally have done it before myself, and that baby is literally everything that you need, and it's probably more of the reason that you are as strong as you are right now.
He saved my life, and he don't even know it.
See,
I never believed in psychic until I talked to her, and all this stuff, everything she was saying start coming. Because first, when we first talked, she said, "Are you pregnant?" I'm like, "I'm pregnant."
So something curled up and caught a
Not I. And she was like, "Oh yeah, I see a baby," and she even told me, she was like, "You're going to get justice for your son." It was like so much she told me, and she told me he had a funny feeling all that day. It was a lot of stuff that she said, and at this time, 2 years ago when I talked to her, actually I'm gonna reach back out to her now. She was saying that my son haven't crossed over yet, and I want to know, is he over there now? Has he accepted that he's actually gone? And I had a dream about him, and I don't know why this dream was this weird, but we was on the phone, and he was actually in East Point jail. I don't know how, but we was talking. He was crying really hard, and I'm like, "Jaquan, are you okay?" And he was like, "I'm okay, but I want you to always make sure Junior is okay."
that was in your dream.
That's the only dream I ever had about my son. The first ever came, only time. So I always have to make sure. I want to make sure that that little boy is always okay. Cause it's gonna be rough growing up as a black man without a father. So I know I'm dreading the day because I know the day is going to come when he's going to get older and be like, well, where's my father? Or
What happened?
What happened to my daddy? I don't have a daddy type thing.
Yeah, those conversations are definitely gonna be had. You know what I mean? I was one who had to ask those same questions. I was 2 years old when my father got killed in them streets. But unlike your boys who weren't in the streets, you know, student athletes, you know what I mean, going on to pursue further education, free education at the next level. My daddy was in them streets, YBI, and literally like Butch Jones' right hand man. So for me, you know, I was very intentional with just making sure that my son did not have to have that same narrative. You know what I mean? And when I found out I was about to be a father, and then it was a boy, like that was all the motivation that I needed. You know what I mean? Right then and there. And then hearing, you know, obviously the story with your sons. So it's only one child now, right?
2.
2. Is it still a possible, or is it
2.
just 2? Because I know at one point we had embraced the whole one, and you know what I'm saying. But when you have these type of legacies now that your son gets to live through, and what I think is super dope is like the way you keep the babies around and the family, you know, and now literally like Quan's name will live on.
Yeah, well, Harmony, she is 5. She'll be 6. But the thing with her is she had, you know, a few years with him that Junior didn't have, but she's still lost in a sense. Because how do you explain death to a child that doesn't even stand life yet? Mm-hmm. And not too long ago, she just asked when was he coming home, and she went to the funeral. She goes to the mausoleum and all of that, and like, he's not, like, coming home. Like, do you know where he is? She like, yeah, he at the mausoleum, and he been there long enough now. He can come home now. So she still haven't wrapped got the concept like he's never coming back.
Yeah.
So even once a time she thought it was like a video game, and I was like, well, with Teo, they're like, well, Teo died, and she was like, he died, but he gonna come back like they do in the video games. And I was like, life doesn't work like that. I wish it did, but it doesn't work like that. You know what I'm saying? No, it doesn't.
And she how old?
5.
Yeah. Yeah.
No parent should ever have to bury a child. So we're going to open up the caller line, and you can definitely call in. You can ask questions to our guests. You can share your truth, whether you've ever experienced like having to bury a child, or did you lose a sibling and your mom or dad was the parent that had to deal with that. Because like one thing about that type of trauma, and I think we've talked about it like in past discussions or whatever, is really just like what happened to those that are left behind. You know what I mean? What about those that are still here?
The family that's still here, the children that's still here, you know. And you got to be doing just an amazing job, like keeping that bond together.
Yeah, and
you know, with the parents and stuff, because you know why they gonna need you more than anything, you know, with that, because they gonna need that support, that connection. You are the piece of keeping them connected to your family, you know, like keeping that glue. And girl, I praise you. I praise you so much, because you are sitting here very strong, and I'm so sure I wouldn't know. I could never imagine. I got one kid, but like Macho said, it's always a parent's biggest fear is to just be like, I don't want my kid to be in that situation or wrong place, wrong time. I've personally been in situations where I never thought I was gonna make it home.
Right.
More than once, you know. And like when I had my son, I was like, you know what? I gotta change my life. Because if I don't change my life right now, he not gonna have nobody. You know what I'm saying? But like I've been in that situation where I never met how, and I just pray to God that my son just don't ever be in the wrong place at the wrong time, because it just sounded like your kids was amazing. And they was doing the right thing, and it was on the right path. And I love to hear that, especially for like our kids who grew up in the city, because it's like people always think like, oh, well, they're in the city, they into this and that, or right, this situation happened, so this is what causes that. No, these were kids who were on the right path. Your son worked his ass off,
Full
for those
scholarships.
glasses and for those things that he wanted in life, and like for somebody to just be so fucking poor minded, because it's not even about just like being broke, because rich people steal too. It's the poor minded shit part for me.
Right.
Like for you to be so poor minded to just like steal and take somebody's life, like you not worth shit. And wherever he got coming, whatever shit is dealt to him, he probably deserved 10 times more. You know. So again, I praise you a lot for just being a strong woman and being able to speak your truth.
Yeah, the kids keep you strong. I just had an incident a few months ago. You know, I have babies, dad, and poor little Harmony, she was a junior with this saying dad, and she was playing and she just got so frustrated with him. And she's like, you just keep saying dad. You don't have a daddy. I don't have a daddy. We don't have a daddy. And that just broke my heart.
Goodness.
I had to roll over my bed to like lift the cover on my head so she didn't see me, and she just took her little dolls and went downstairs, and I was just like, this is the worst. Like, she got a father and daughter dance coming up, and she was like, I don't have a daddy. I was like, oh, you're going. You know, his friends are there 100%. Like, he like, we're all taking her. I was like, that's so nice.
That's tough.
It's
Like,
very
that's tough. Like, I'm such a softie when it comes to. I mean, even though I scream
That shit just
F2K,
fucked me up listening to hearing her say that the little baby
Yeah.
said that, man. That's
that's wild. And let's be clear. Even though I'm, you know, and T walks in screaming it too. Fuck them kids Friday.
Hey.
But only great parents can say that. Let's be very clear.
Exactly, because we're
right?
tired of the ass.
Yeah.
Right, only great
Yeah.
parents can like should be saying it. Some of y'all that say it and shouldn't be, but
Right.
but just, you know, knowing you and knowing, you know, your kids and again, like, I'm always the parent that'll never sit back and be like, well, my kid would never, because like you will be sadly you'll be sadly reminded that you can never say what your kid will or won't do. But just in understanding and being around these kids and knowing how they were moving and again, I'm not saying they were perfect. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying that they were perfect.
Exactly.
But what I'm saying is we know that we know that they weren't out here robbing, they weren't out here stealing, they weren't out here killing, they weren't out here gang banging. I mean, these kids, I mean, they might blow good weed, you know what I mean?
But they wasn't out here doing nothing to cause their own
They
personal
were
karma.
doing nothing
You know
that
what
would
I'm saying?
warrant
Exactly.
Would want
you
that
feeling
shit.
like I need to take this man's life. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? There was no threat. And even hearing about Quan, like
Road
a
rage. is
road
some
rage
shit.
incident, and again, we've been seeing this so often. I just saw a story where a police officer pulled the motherfucking gun out on a motherfucker for road rage. So you see that shit so often. So even me, I used to be I used to suffer from road rageologists like a motherfucker. Like, I'm talking about, like, we'll speed up on you, we'll hawk a loogie at your ass. I remember one time me and my cousin.
You gotta throw the pennies out the sunroof, but see, I cut that shit out. You had to chill
I
out.
stopped blowing my horn at people.
I stopped blowing.
Yeah,
my
I
horn
stopped
out
altogether.
because
Angry out here
people
don't
just
make
get so upset, and I just don't even know. Like, and I was telling my mom, I was just kind of like, damn, like, people have gotten crazy. I know it's gonna sound crazy, but since the pandemic, I feel like people tempers is short. They are impatient and they are angry. People are angry and they are depressed and they are suffering mentally, and they losing their shit over the littlest thing that could trigger them because they don't have control over their fucking temper. Like, that's just how I feel about it. People don't know how to have control. Like, and don't get me wrong, I have not always had control. I went through the channels in life, therapy, and all of that to get control of my anger because it's not worth it. And it's just like people just lose their shit over nothing, and that road rage is crazy. My brother went through that. His two friends was in the car. Somebody that was on their way downtown to a concert, somebody cut them off, road rage happened. They pulled up on the shot the car up. Like, it's just like,
I never forget, me and my
it's crazy.
cousin was driving one time and the car pulled up on the side of it. Like, it was like some road rage shit.
Mm-hmm.
And dude, it was like two chicks in the car with a dude, and dude was like talking shit to us, we talking shit to him, and we like, pull over, whole ass nigga, pull over, whole ass nigga. So he pulled over, we pulled over, we get out the car, and the lady literally got out the car crying. She swear to God, I remember this like it was yesterday. She started crying. She says, well, y'all please stop and understand that as young black men, we was super young. I was in the I had a Dodge Shadow. You know what I'm saying? So this was like 99, 2000-ish. You see what I'm saying? And it was right there at the fucking, right there at the, where that Burger King got on fucking Van Dyke and motherfucking, and
past Outer Drive.
Yeah, yep, right there. You know what I'm saying? Because I remember us like turning off on that the hospital route, and we pulled right up at the motherfucking, the Sunoco right there. It was Sunoco then. I don't know what it is now. but it's on 8 Mile. But it's that one-way street when you're coming off out of drive behind the hospital.
Yeah,
we used to take
talking
that back
about
route, the little
back
shortcut.
route,
Yeah, you know what I'm
to 8
saying?
Mile, right.
So, but in that moment, it was like, had it not been for her, because we was tooled up, you know what I'm saying? Like, we both had, like, you know what I'm saying? We wasn't on no CPO shit. Like, my gun was illegal, his shit was illegal too. You know what I'm saying? But, like look at where life could have transitioned us had she not jumped out and stopped it. You know what I'm saying? Like, shit could have went so far left.
Yeah.
So hearing that about Quan, like, a road rage incident where, like, he didn't pull out no gun. Like nigga, okay, going about your... Because I done had those just recently. Where, like, okay, then I keep going, and I'm not expecting that as I turn off, like, I'm hearing gunshots now, and the next thing you know, like, goddamn, little homie done lost his fucking life.
Yeah.
For nothing.
For nothing because somebody mad on the road.
And in both cases, your boys lost their life for fucking nothing.
Nothing.
Dog didn't even get the Cartiers.
Didn't even get the glasses.
He didn't even get them, and then now you sitting there looking stupid.
Now you
as
spending
hell.
the rest of your life in
your
fucking
life
prison.
over something you never even got.
Now you about to be Pound Town Booty Hole Brown. Pause. Okay.
Guilty for last.
Now you about to be Pound Town in it with nothing but hard legs and penises the rest of your fucking life.
For
Yeah.
nothing.
For nothing, because you got nothing out of
And he
it.
was young at the time of he killed Teo. He was 21. Teo was 18. He was 21.
The guy was 21.
Yeah, he was 20 and he turned 21 in August. Yeah.
Stupid. You just threw your entire life away. You haven't experienced anything in life and you never will. But being behind that fucking wall over some shit that you never even walked away with. You never even walked away with it. And then, like, the road rage situation is just as stupid. Like, you pulling up on the side of somebody and arguing or cussing them out ain't sufficient enough. You're that mad that somebody cut you off on a road that you feel like you need
fire shot.
2 fire shots. If that's not the most fucked up brain system that I've ever heard of, that's what I'm saying. People are losing their shit and they rage and they triggers and they anger is just, it's horrible, you know? And like, in all fairness, everybody in Detroit drive like shit.
Terrible.
You're gonna be mad all the time and shoot
All the
everybody,
time.
you know what I'm saying? Like,
Exactly.
everybody here, we all drive like shit. We're not the best drivers, so like,
Not everybody. I'm cold in the
no,
motherfucking
you're
mirror.
terrible. Actually, rode in the car passenger seat, baby. You're not the greatest.
I'm cold with it.
You might be cold with it, but I'm sure you done pissed a couple people off by cutting them off and jumping lanes and waiting
know
till the
I
last
have.
minute to come off the freeway, you know?
I do, but I offer that same mercy and grace too nowadays. Like when somebody cut me off, swear I have to remind myself, like I've been that motherfucker that cut somebody off.
Right.
So it keeps me from
Just
really indulging in that shit, right?
Yeah.
But Chip Jackson, I absolutely agree. Chip says we all need to look inside of that anger and remember to take a step back. This life we have is fragile and precious. Just step back for a moment and reflect.
This is my friend
All
too.
of
Hey,
us.
Chip.
Like, 100%.
Yeah, but no, that's real though. It's just like a very sad situation.
And when
that
I got, not to cut you off,
No,
when
go
I got
ahead.
the call for both of them, it was like crazy. When Jaquan called me when Teo got shot, I instantly ran out the house. And they had the car, and I was like, oh shit. And it was like deja vu. Because I remember waking up, because remember, mind you, Jaquan took my car that night. And I'm like, no. I was like, you got to give me a seafood boy. I'll let you get my car. And he would have got me a seafood boy. I said, come back. I got to go to work in the morning. He like, I'm be back. He like, I just want to drive my car back across 8 Mile. You know I got one here. Like, I'm like, okay, keep it. I fell asleep on the couch. I woke up. It was 10:32 p.m. I said, I got to wish my happy 21st birthday. I said, oh, I got some time. Going back to sleep. The next call I got that he was shot. But you know how you have that feeling. In that moment, something was telling me my son was gone. Because I just kept walking out. I said, anything gets me shut, not prosper. And I ran out there to go to the car. Boom, no car again. Duh, they got my car. My cousin pulled up and came and got me. And Jaquan's best friend was his brother. He was shot too. And we jumped on 94. So
Quan wasn't in the car by itself?
no, the bullet went through his best friend. They got shot the same bullet. He was in the back seat. It went through him and hit Quan. And back came out through this way. So he's another one. He survived in it.
how's he doing?
Survivor's remorse.
Yeah.
And he was like, when we learned that, he was like, we got shot with the same bullet. I was like, yeah. It went straight through him and to my son. Yeah. And we got on that freeway. I just kept saying, anything gets me shut, not prosper. Right now, Mama just knew my son was gone. We on 94. My cousin passed 8 Mile. So y'all sitting there at St. John, we would be coming up on Ross.
Right.
So I already knew. He said he at the hospital, Quan on 8 Mile. I said he gone. Cause
Why would he not be at the
why
hospital
would he
too?
be at the hospital? It was just something like
Yeah.
in me that told me the moment I got the call that he was shot that he was gone. And that's the worst call. Most people, parents, oh, my kid is 21, want to celebrate. On my son's 21st birthday, I was at Wayne County Medical Examiner identifying his body on his 21st birthday. So his death date and birthday is all the same. The same day I gave
That's-
life to him is the same day he was taken
Fucking
away.
Terrible.
That's crazy when you look at a person's obituary and their sunset is their sunrise is their
Their
sunset.
sunset. Yeah.
7/6/2000, 7/6/2001. Yeah, and ironically, him and Teo time of death is like 2 minutes apart.
Really?
Man, no parent should have to bury one child, let alone bury two. That's
It's
crazy.
And when he was leaving out the door, the last time I saw my son alive face, I said, Jaquan, what you turn 21, what you doing? These words still stick with me. And he said, oh, I ain't doing much, I ain't taking 21 without Teo. And he really didn't. I said, this. And the other friend said, like when he was talking to him when he was shot, he said he looked up and he had like kind of a slight smile. And he went, he said, in that moment, I knew Teo came and got him. And he just always stick. He was like, I ain't taking 21 without Teo. So I don't know, like God was like giving, preparing me. I don't know, but it was just something about that last statement he said to me.
That's wild. That's so fucking. That's. And see, what a blessing for both of your boys to not become products of the environment, not become generational curses and statistics, because all of their uncles, all of the, well, majority of
Right.
the male figures and the influences in their life were all street niggas, and you know, it's like for them to be able to see beyond that and to want things outside of the hood and use the sports to accomplish those things and to achieve. I remember when Quan became that, broke the record for being the first black, track star over at, Madison High. You ain't even hear about Madison Heights before, like, them boys had their run up there, you know what I mean? And to have to deal with that and have to bury your babies behind that, like, that could have went so far left, you know what I mean, with just those that love those boys and still from the streets and in the streets, you know what I mean, and would love street justice in every scenario, you know what I mean. Can you kind of talk about, like, what role, or if you even took that role in terms of now having to be the voice of, again, and I don't want to say, because I know I heard you earlier say you're not forgiven, but like how did you avoid the revenge mindset or the retaliation mindset?
For sure. Yeah.
I had to sit down and have this conversation with a few of them. My thing is, they're still somebody's child. I wouldn't wish this pain on my worst enemy. And just because you're living doesn't mean you're happy.
Right.
Just because they're living, that don't mean they're happy. I know he wake up miserable in a 4x4 every day. He on 23-hour lockdown. He get an hour out a day. And the other one with Quan, who's to say he's happy? I don't know. We don't know what he's going through. But the retaliation, eye for an eye, what is it? It's off nothing.
You're
My
right.
son gone. Now your son is gone. We both grieving parents with 2 dead sons. What do each one of us accomplish out of it?
Yeah.
So I just feel like every dog got their day. Karma don't miss an address. She can come in 6 months. She can come in 6 years. She can come in 16.
In 6 different ways too.
Exactly.
It's not a promise that the karma come the same way.
Exactly.
Karma come in the most, and it won't. I be saying with karma, like, sometimes people catch karma and it hit them over and over and over and over. It's not just a one-time thing. Oh, because I did this bad due, I'm getting my one bad due. No, like, they somehow, some way, that karma gonna come. I just want to say, somebody just said, Chip Jackson said, your strength is more than I can imagine. Not sure I will make it through what you have. Thanks for the beacon. I hope I never need it.
Oh, thank
No, that's
God.
real. That's
Yeah.
absolutely real, man. And even
It was a
like,
process, Chip. It's hard. I'm telling you, it's very hard. But again, you gotta keep living. You gotta keep going. I can't give up. If I give up, I'm giving up on my other children. I'm giving up on my grandchildren. I'm giving up.
because
on
you
everybody.
still have
I
a
got
boy
two-
and a girl.
Yeah, I still have a kid. I got another son, 20, 18, and then Jayla's 8. So it's still I have to keep going for them. So like I said, if I give up and crumble or go crazy or lose what little cool I have, then where that leaves them. I know my boys want me to keep going. They would want to be strong. Like I tell Jaquan, all that we lost, tell like you a part of me. We are built for this. I don't want you to fall. I want you to make Teo proud. And that's what he kept saying. He even made a song. He was like, I went back to school. I know you, brother. I know you proud of me. Because Teo was his biggest fan. Rooting him on the field with him. Bro, you know what I'm saying? It was sports. And that's what they thrived. And I just got to be strong. Like I said, I still cry. But I got to keep going. Because I got to keep going for the babies. I can't give up on them.
That's a lot. That's a lot to even process.
And my mother is like, even though I'm grown as adult, I'm so thankful to have her. Like, I don't know where I would be without her because, in a sense, like, she lost her child too. And, and these was her first grandkids and she helped me raise them from day one.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, we have each other to lean on. And sometimes I like catch her crying. I just walk away like, I'm not going to cry that much. Let her have that. But
Today your turn. Tomorrow my turn.
yeah, and I'm so thankful for her because she a strong woman. And then my grandmother had died right after Poppy, and she was a big factor in our life. She was like our number one. Took us to travel all around the world. She even took my kids, and Poppy really crumbled after her death. Teo took my grandma. So it was hard.
And we're talking about burying a child, but like in between you having to bury your two children, you had to bury your brother as well too.
And your grandmother.
And my grandmother.
That's. You need another shot. You good?
Yeah,
Yeah, I
think we
do.
need a bottle.
I was really low key thinking like, we need another shot over here.
Yeah.
But like I said, love on y'all children. You never know when it's gonna be your last. I'm trying to tell you, like, it's hard.
You know what I appreciate about you coming on and sharing your truth is, there's somebody that was even in the chat. Quintisha said like she can relate. You know what I mean? She and because I know her personally too, we had to she had to bury her son. Her nephew, but raised him like her son, and that was tough. You know what I mean? Like that was tough. The family still like ain't moved on from that, right? You know what I mean? And in some scenarios, like you when the person is taken away from you, right, because of murder or gun violence, like that closure is surreal. You know what I mean? And even in this scenario, it was definitely surreal. Whether life again. Your other Chip said it so eloquently. You know what I mean? Like we got to be very mindful of these fragile gifts that we have that are called life. You know what I mean? Because you just never know. And though we know that tomorrow is not promised, we all make plans for tomorrow.
And the next day.
You understand what I'm saying? We
Yeah.
all got plans for the latter part of this year. Like we know tomorrow is not promised. Okay, that is a promise. Okay,
But we plan.
but
like
yet
it's
we
here.
plan accordingly. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And again, you planned on celebrating your son's 21st birthday. My son turned 21, and I
I want to
took
go
a
out.
toast with
I was
him.
about to say I was going to take a
You know
shot.
what I mean?
Like, come take this shot. You 21, and I was like, yeah. And it was like, oh.
And you
Wayne.
were robbed of that. You were stripped of that, and that's very unfortunate. But what I absolutely do appreciate, and I do know, is there's definitely some healing energy out there, and when the stars are aligned and whatever you believe in, if you find that comfort in those things, then that's important. You know what I mean? And obviously, like you said,
Talk
like
to that man upstairs every day and tell him to guide me.
yeah, for certain,
Wait
because you
for
still
me.
got like other kids here. You know what I mean? And that's the fucked up part about death. You know what I mean? It's like life.
You keeps
Unfortunately,
going.
life still fucking like DTE still need that bread.
Right, still got to keep
You understand what I'm
going.
saying? Like
Yeah.
you still gotta got a job to go report to and get these
Still do.
you know what I mean, get that
and
bag.
these jobs are never going to give you the break and the time that the grievance time. You get a couple days, and then you are as a human supposed to snap back and just go back to work, you know, and just kind of carry on.
She said her nephew was 21 and his son was born 2 weeks after his death.
Wow. Same.
Tough.
Same. Get the same situation.
That's hard. That's when people take people's life, like, y'all don't know the damage that y'all do with something. It's not even worth it. What did you accomplish by, or if he cut you off or you cut him off, whatever the case may be, was it that serious to shoot and take his life? You wanted a pair of, what, $1,200 to $1,500 glasses that bad? And it was kind of weird because they family was like doing a thing on Facebook, you know, social media. I don't interact with that. It was like, oh, it was nothing. We dropped 50 bands on a lawyer, brother. I was like, oh, 50 bands on a lawyer. Cardi don't cost nowhere near that.
Right.
Yeah, could've bought
You
him
dropped
for a lot
50
of
bands on a
Y'all
lawyer,
could have
but
bought him some Cardis then.
what was that
like,
same
yeah.
energy yet when he
When
was
he
out here
wanted
taking
Cardis.
fucking lives?
Yeah, or if y'all had that type of money, like if you
Yeah.
come from the type of family where you got that type of money where you can drop 50 bands, then you can instill in your child
And it
to
was
get
like,
money.
It's nothing. We
Like-
can do this. It's nothing. Oh, okay. But trying to get Cardi. And I was just like, I felt the system failed me because the guy that killed Teo was just let out on parole 6 months before he killed Teo. And he had just served time for the exact same situation. But this young man lived. He didn't shoot him. So, with
So
the
he-
6
so-
months,
oh, wow.
he was on parole.
Oh, so the when he was the person who he dealt with before, that person
robbed
lived.
him and didn't
He
kill him.
robbed him, but that person lived.
Yeah, robbed him. For Cardi's glasses. I don't know that Cardi. I know it was a robbery with glasses. So I said, oh, he had a thing for Cardi's. So again, that you can boast and
He
we got
never-
the dream team as a lawyer, which he had a whole courtroom full of lawyers. I just don't feel like y'all should. He wanted glasses bad, and y'all should have bought him some to prevent that young man. He felt he had to go rob for some.
I'm sorry, couldn't be my child because if you just got out
You want
6
to
months
brag, you
ago,
want to boast.
yeah, like I'm not. Listen, you go do something
but you-
stupid,
and you-
and then you're gonna go back. I'm not dropping 50
And I'm
bands
gonna
to help you.
I'm gonna boastfully spend money on you getting out again, so you can potentially do
Do
the
the same
shit.
stupid shit, like
That's a
That's a-
dumbass.
6
That's a
months.
dumbass family.
That's
I'm
a
sorry.
coon's
That's a
mindset.
coon-ass
Yes.
family. Yeah.
For real.
fucking crabs in a bucket ass.
For
family.
real. That just, I mean, it's totally separate though. But the dog family, and we talked about this on the podcast. Dude who punched the lady in her face and her son
Oh, we had
stretched his ass out.
Yeah, we talked about that.
But the family afterward had shirts calling him the Knockout King.
afterwards,
Afterward, first of all, he didn't knock her out because that's why he.
They had him at the funeral.
Yeah, they was literally, like, walking around with shirts on
The funeral
that-
shirts with them all the pictures of the A and wings and all of that. Got Knockout King over the
So
top.
the little teenage boy in the restaurant.
Yeah, in
Yeah.
Chicago.
yeah, because we had talked about that on here before. But like, I didn't know that they had
Yeah,
went
the
to the
aftermath,
extreme
they-
of.
they
went
I
to
did
the
see
funeral
they had
celebrating
with
this
the shirts
boy.
on, yeah.
They had knockout. They had shirts with him on the picture of it
Calling
in
him
the
the Knockout
restaurant.
The Knockout
Of that
King.
the picture. That picture.
just,
that-
just instilling all that ignorance, generation through fucking generation. That is so stupid to me.
some super sad shit. So to you know, the point that I'm making is like, you know, at the end of the day, like, y'all glorify the fact that y'all got all this money to drop on lawyers and this and that or whatever, but like, where was the energy that led up into that? You know what I mean? Where like, to even put the, and this is what I hate about fucking social media. Right, this is what I hate about that social media platform. It's such an amazing platform if you use it the right way.
The right way.
You can make money off that motherfucker. You can keep in touch with friends and family and connect with motherfuckers.
Right.
So it's a beautiful thing when you definitely leverage it the right way. But when you want to take and perpetuate, like, your whole shit doesn't get condoned. I don't give a fuck if your last name is Winans, if you my mama, my brother, like, you do whole shit, we don't condone it, like, in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
So I ain't about to be wearing no free little Ray Ray shirts and Ray Ray just went and killed 2 motherfuckers. No, sit Ray Ray little ass down
Right.
Okay.
And let him get what he
and
deserves.
let Ray Ray get some help. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And if he don't get the help, just leave his dumb ass there. That way we ain't got to worry about little Ray Ray potentially, you know what I'm saying, turning that anger on family. You know what I'm saying?
or coming out and destroying somebody else's family,
You know?
affecting somebody
It's
else's
like
family.
people kind of hide behind social media because Detroit is so small and
it's
people know
so big and
people.
so small.
And
You know?
I was getting like literally hundreds of screenshots of the family, but then it was different. They called me for a meeting, the Garretts, for a meeting down at Frank Murphy, and they want to do this big apology and all of this. And I was like, are y'all fucking serious? Apology for what? I got millions of screenshots, but then y'all want to come behind the scenes and be different.
So keep that same energy.
Yeah, that's why I flipped
Right.
the script. No.
Okay, well, y'all, we appreciate y'all. And like so, typically when we wrapping up a show, and we thank the followers, the callers, the listeners, the supporters. Our final thought is typically like the very last thing, and typically when we bring a guest on, you know, whoever brings the guest on, typically allow them to have their final thought. So T, I'm going to give you my final thought. Well, I'm going to let Cherry give her final thought, and then we'll let T give her final thought.
Crack babies.
Okay, I seen that. Somebody said.
Yeah, I had to say that like, wow.
Somebody said a family full of crack babies. Absolutely no, but my final thought is, and this is just like not even. This is to everybody who was listening. This petty crime shit is so stupid. You're killing over glasses. You're killing over road rage. Black people, y'all need some damn therapy. Flat out. I know black people be thinking they don't need therapy and they're against it and they judgmental about that shit. Let me tell you something. I talk to my therapist every damn Monday for an hour. And if that's going to keep me healthy, it's just like the rest of your health. But what I want to do is I just want to applaud you for being such a strong-ass black woman, because I couldn't imagine the shit that you go through, the mornings that you wake up, the nights that you are getting restless. I know that shit is happening to you, but you being strong, because right now you the meat for your family, you know, and they need you. And what you got to know is, too, because I know us as black women, we close off and we don't reach for that help, and we try to keep everything tucked in the family, but like, I don't know you about your relationship. I don't know you, but like, if you ever just need somebody to talk to get out the house, to come back on here and talk again, you know, like, you got to know you got that support, because shit got to get out there, because we never going to learn and grow if we don't talk about these situations and platform them. So again, I'm just applauding you of being amazing, and I just pray for your strength and your family's strength every single day.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
What's your final thought, T?
I just want these youngins to do better. Stop killing. It's senseless. Everybody want to be tough. Everybody want to have a gun. Everybody want to be blue. They want to be red. They want to be 5. They want to be 4, 3, 2, 1. Nobody is thinking about the main color green, money. You know what I'm saying? And when you take a life where, just think about in that split second what you about to do and how it's probably going to affect you in the long run, your family, or the person's life that you're taking. You know what I'm saying? Now, my son is not here to raise his son. You know what I'm saying? And
Wow.
I'm left to do that. I'm left without not one but 2 of them just gone. And it's senseless. You know, over nothing, material things, or like I said, want to be tough, or he was call me a whole ass nigga through the window, I cut him off, whatever. You know what I'm saying? That case may be. It's not worth it. Black people don't understand. We are more powerful together than divided. We are the most divided race to me. And we are more power, and we
If
stand
Montgomery,
together.
Alabama, then
Man.
that over the weekend.
Man, what? I was proud to be black when I think that. Why we can't be like that all the time with each other?
Yeah, keep that same energy and apply it to different arenas of our
life.
community.
Oh,
Facts.
yeah.
Facts, 100%.
Stick together.
Hey, y'all, we appreciate y'all tapping in. Excuse my Truth
Love you too,
podcast.
sister.
We definitely on next Monday, y'all, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Deuces, my baby. We out.
Bye.
Peace.
Warning. You are now tuned in to 7 Mile Radio. 7 Mile